Now, I don't mean this in a braggadocious way, but the Efficient at $38 is the cheapest Spyderco I own, and I am really rich. Like most people, the reason I decided to buy it is because I have a YouTube channel that reviews knives and flashlights and makes a lot of dick jokes. Well, it was cheap and new, and it'll be my first Spyderco made in China with 8 CR13 MOV steel. Plus, it looks like a cheap version of the Native 5, and my budget is pretty limp right now. So, let's go with this one. And the dimensions, like the overall length and the weight. It's actually slightly larger than the standard Native 5 and lighter. The blade length and the gutting edge. Again, on paper, a slightly longer cutting edge than the Native 5. Handle size, grip area. The spine thickness and the handle thickness. So I don't really have a Native 5 to compare it to, but looking through Spyderco's catalog, it looks more similar to the Native, but also a little Sage-like and Manix-like. It's a drop point, and the blade is flush with the curve of the handle. And of course, 8 CR13 MOV steel, like I said earlier, but I have to say again now because I'm talking about the blade, and this is the blade section. It has a nice medium to large size blade. I like a cutting edge a tad longer than 3 inches, but a touch over 2.5 ain't bad. It has a nice, full, flat grind with a chill satin finish. Then there's a little tightly spaced jimping up top to give your thumb some friction when cutting hard. Now, without disassembling it, there's clearly a visible phosphor bronze bushing on the left side and a black bushing on the right. So let's assume it's nylon or Teflon or Kevlar or whatever, but not phosphor bronze. Which leads to the deployment. Now, I found deployment isn't one of those things necessarily affected by bushing type. That has some to do with it, but a lot of things contribute to knife with good and fast deployment, like where you put that stud and what you do with the hole, proper finger placement, pivot action, and overall design of the knife. So let's just say the Efficient is, wait for it, efficient at deployment. Now, that's an adjective that makes less sense the more you think about it. Now, for my hands, middle finger deployment doesn't work as well, but thumb deployment is really where it's at. Put your thumb in the hole just a bit and flick, flick, flick. It's consistent and fast, and it's also deployment. The liner lock is a liner lock. It's easy to disengage and doesn't wear on the finger even if you close it a lot. It doesn't have jimping on it like a lot of liner locks do, so that has a little bit to do with it. It's an easy one-handed open and close, while fast deployment and lock disengagement doesn't necessarily correlate with price. It's a nice feature in a knife under $40. The handle. The handle isn't quite as full as a handle size as I like, and by that I mean I really have to crowd my fingers to get them to fit. Now, this isn't necessarily a problem, just a preference thing. But if choils are your thing, there's also some additional room up front for your pointer finger, although the choil could be a bit deeper and have like a little bit more of a guard near the blade. So choil at your own risk and comfort level. The liner is a full stainless steel skeletonized liner to save weight, and the scales are made from a lightly textured G10. It's a similar pattern to my paramilitary 2 scales, but that seems grippier. This G10 isn't going to tear up your pockets. If you want more aggressive G10, well, get different scales or don't buy this one. The clip is configurable to the right or left side of the handle in a tip up only. So pivot down, tip up, that's the way we like to carry. Then there's the sleeved lanyard hole, like found on a lot of Spyderco knives. Benchmade doesn't really seem to find value in this sleeve, but whatever, I don't do paracord sculptures, so it doesn't matter to me. It's not a super deep carry clip either, but the clip is stainless steel and polished and slides in and out easy of the pocket. But it grips nicely too. Other than non-deep carry, I do like the clip. Okay, so on Instagram I promised Ben Jeezy to wail on a car seat box, but my wife recycled it yesterday, so I'll have to find some garbage laying around the yard. Or as Bow Your Sensei, bro, Universal Martial Arts Center said on my Yojimbo 2 review, Reddit new mail shit. Sorry, man, not everyone is a raging, erection, crane kicking people in the face. And plus, my mom told me one time, honey, some people crane kick people in the face with their mind. This knife was sharp out of the box. No difference between this and an expensive Spyderco. They're all sharp. I know all my Enlins that use HCR13 MOV take longer to sharpen than, say, my Gonzo's 440C, which I know those aren't the same thing, but they're both, cheap steels found in Chinese knives. But I think that's more of a different edge geometry thing, the sharpening, ease of sharpening, learn to talk. But this is the same steel as they use in the Tenacious, and that's a universally beloved Spyderco folder that I don't own. It was between the Tenacious and the Endura 4, and I went with the Endura. That's a touch heavier than this one, with a larger handle and a more positionable clip, so get that one if you want a bigger knife. I've read some people removing the back spacer on the Efficient, and it looks like it's removable if you take the knife apart. That might save some weight and create an open back design. Now, this isn't a knife I'd carry often because I like a little larger handle and a blade for the weight ratio. I carry knives for basic utility at work, and it still meets my weight requirement, but since I have so many other blades well under 4 ounces with larger blades, it isn't quite the sweet spot for my everyday carry. That is until the Spyderco Precious comes out. And you're like, whoa, where's that at in the catalog? But that's only my opinion, and opinions are like YouTube reviews. Everyone has one. So after playing with my knife and wood for a while, I see no QC problems with this blade. It's actually really nice. But again, not something that I would probably carry often. Although I have carried it for like 2 weeks now. It stays fairly sharp and sharpens easily on my sharp maker with only a few minutes of work. So if you like this review, subscribe. Follow me on Instagram where I post everyday carry type stuff. And hikes, and converse with people too. And I guess some inauguration and protest pictures around where I work because that's been happening around me lately. But not usually that. Leave a comment, play with your knives, give the video a thumbs up, drink some beer. It doesn't even have to be good beer. Thanks for watching.